Welcome back to the Wardrobe of Woe. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about the Slaves Darkness battle line. The Slaves of Darkness are the quintessential bad guys that aren't aligned with a particular chaos deity as much as their specific factions are. But nonetheless, they are pretty neat. They have an aesthetic that they like. It's pointy things, if you were unaware. But without further ado, let's get into it. First up, let's take a look at the Chaos Marauders. They have a stat line of 6-inch move, 5 bravery, 1 wounds, and a 6-up save. They have 2 different melee weapons to choose from, the Barbarian Axe or the Barbarian Flail. The main difference between the two is that the Flail is kind of like a spear type thing. It has more reach, less attacks, and it's more accurate. The Axe has 1-inch reach, 2 attacks, 4s and 4s to hit and wound, no rend, 1 damage. The Flail has 2-inch reach, 1 attack, 4s and 3s to hit and wound, no rend, and then 1 damage. For abilities, 1 and 5 can have an icon, which gives -1 bravery to enemy units, which could be helpful, unlikely, but 1 and 5 can have a drum, which gives them +1 to run and charge. And like all of the units on this list, more or less, you must have a Mark of Chaos. Not March of Chaos, a Mark of Chaos. Either Korn, Nurgle, Slash, or Tzeentch. If there is 10 models inside of the unit, you get, or 10 or more, excuse me, you get +1 to hit rolls. If there is more than 20, or 20 or more, excuse me, you get +1 to rend. When charging, this is a really interesting rule. You can change the lowest dice to a 6, and if there's doubles, it doesn't matter, just pick one. So you have basically a minimum charge of 6, so it makes charging really consistent. Also, if you are equipping your unit with the axes, they get a shield, so they get a +1 to save. So, Chaos Marauders are wonderfully cheap cannon fodder. They cost about 90 points as of the time of recording, so about 9 points per model at the standard size. They have great consistent charges. They're better in greater numbers. And something that I can see the value in them is tagging key targets to force the key target to attack less than ideal chaff. So if your enemy has an archer unit or a ranged unit that you just don't want them to shoot at your valuable stuff, have them shoot at Chaos Marauders, because these guys are cheaper than a lot of stuff. So to maximize their efficientness, take in squads of 20 to 30. 30 might be pushing it. I think that their real use is chaff, and I don't think 30 is going to do you much good. 20 is probably your sweet spot, because you have a lot of cheap bodies to annoy your opponent with. Next up is the Chaos Warriors. These guys are the Chaos Marauders' older brother. They have a stat line of 5-inch move, 7 bravery, 2 wounds, and a 4-up save. They have 3 different melee profiles they can choose a weapon from. The Chaos Hand Weapon, it has 1-inch reach, 2 attacks, 3 for the leader, 3s to hit, 3s to wound, no rend, 1 damage. The Chaos Halberds, this is like their spear, 2-inch reach, 2 attacks, 3s for the leader, 3s to hit, 4s to wound, no rend, 1 damage. Chaos Great Blades, 1-inch reach, 2 attacks, 3 attacks for the leader, 4s to hit, 3s to wound, 1 rend, 1 damage. For unique abilities, 1 and 5 can have a banner, which gives them +1 to bravery. 1 and 5 can have a horn, which gives them +1 to run and charge. They have to have the Mark of Chaos. If they have more than 10 models, you get +1 to save. And if you equip them with a single hand axe and a halberd, or a halberd, you get a 5+ mortal wound ward. It's not a regular ward, it's a mortal wound ward. So it's less useful and kind of niche, but it's better than having nothing. So that's interesting. If you equip it with the dual hand axes or the dual hand weapons, you reroll all hit rolls. So that's really powerful. The Chaos Warriors are the Marauders' Chad older brother. They are just tankier and generally better in every way, but as such, they are a lot more expensive. Um, they are a general purpose foot slogging infantry. They're wonderfully well rounded. Um, and what's kind of nice is you can get a lot of bodies if you really want to, because their minimum squad size is 10. So if you double reinforce, you can get 30 if you really want to. Um, I would, to maximize their efficiency, I would take them in squads of 20 to 30. If you really like big blobs of infantry, go 30. You'd be fine. If you are deciding to go 30 warriors in a blob, I would say the halberds. Otherwise, I would say the dual hand axes. That consistent hits are really powerful. Next up is the Chaos Marauder Horsemen. These guys have a lot in common with just regular Marauders. They have a stat line of 12-inch move, 5 bravery, 2 wounds, and a 6-up save. They have a single missile profile if you equip them with the javelins, which is they throw their javelins. 12-inch reach, 1 attack each, 4s and 4s to hit and wound, 1 rend, 1 damage. For me, the profiles, they have 3 weapon options and then their mount attacks. They have the same axe and flail choices from the regular Marauders, and then they have the Javelin. The Javelin is kind of a weaker option, but different. Actually, I wouldn't even call it weaker, it's just different. It has 2-inch reach, 1 attack, 2 for the leader, 4s to hit, 4s to wound, 1 rend, 1 damage. They have a lot of the similar unique abilities, which is 1 in 5 can have the icon, which gives the -1 to bravery. 1 in 5 can have a drum, mark of chaos, +1 to hit while you have 10 or more models, and then +1 to save if you have a shield. So if you have the axes, then you get a shield. And this unit can retreat and shoot / charge. So the Chaos Marauder Horsemen are interesting. They are just kind of a mobile, annoy your enemy cavalry. They are there to just be a thorn in your opponent's side and just kind of secure objectives if they are unguarded. And they are more or less the same thing as Marauders, but faster. To maximize their efficiency, I would take them in squads of 5 to 10. And if you are planning to take them in squads of 10, take the javelins or the flails. I'm a personal fan of the javelins because you have a little bit of rend and you can attack in 2 phases of the game. Next up is the Chaos Knights. You should be noticing a theme at this point that the Chaos Knights are going to share a lot of similarities with their unmounted counterparts, the Chaos Warriors. They have a 10-inch stat line, or it's not a 10-inch stat line, excuse me, a 10-inch movement, 7 bravery, 3 runes, and a 4-up save. They have 4 melee profiles, different weapons you can pick from, and then the mount option. The ensorcelled weapons, 1-inch reach, 3 attacks, 3s to hit, 3s to wound, 1 rend, 1 damage. The cursed lance, 2-inch reach, 2 attacks, 4s to hit, 3s to wound, no rend, 1 damage. The cursed flail, 2-inch reach, d6 attacks, 4s to hit, 3s to wound, no rend, 1 damage. And then the trampling hooves, the 1-inch reach, 2 attacks, 4s and 4s to hit and wound, 1 rend, 1 damage. For abilities, they have a lot of the same abilities as the Chaos Warriors. 1 in 5 has the banner, 1 in 5 has the horn, Mark of Chaos. They all have the 5-up mortal wound ward. And then here's kind of where it becomes a little bit more unique. The Cursed Lance has the +1 damage and +2 to rend of the Cursed Lance if they charge. So real good there. They give a -1 bravery to enemies within 3, and the leader can take the Cursed Flail and a Chaos Rune Shield. For the Chaos Knights, they are faster heavily cav, and I would say they're best useful for skirmishing. You want to get that damage on the charge with your Cursed Lances. To maximize their efficientness, I would say take in squads of 5 to 10 and always take the Cursed Lances. Next up is the Chaos Chariot. This is a pretty standard chariot. It's neat. It has a 12-inch move, 6 bravery, 7 wounds, and a 4-up save. For melee profiles, they have the Lashing Whip, 2-inch reach, 2 attacks, 4s and 4s to hit and wound, no rend, 1 damage. The Chaos Great Blade, 2 attacks, 2 attacks each, 2-inch reach, 3s to hit, 3s to wound, 1 rend, 2 damage. The Chaos Warflail, 2-inch reach, d6 attacks, 4s to hit, 3s to wound, no rend, 1 damage. And then the Trampling Hooves. It's the same as all the other mounts, except since there's 2 horses, you get more attacks. 1-inch reach, 4 attacks, 4s to hit, 4s to wound, no rend, 1 damage. For unique abilities, you can take multiple chariots in the same unit, and then once you do that, you can pick one of them to be a leader, and so that leader gets +1 to hit. Mark of Chaos, obviously, and then they have a once per battle run and charge. So this could be really good for an Alpha Strike if that's what you want, or just kind of generally giving you a little bit more mobility. Additionally, they get a little bit of a damage on the charge where you roll the number of dice equal to the charge roll, and each 5-up is a mortal wound. So it's a good chariot unit. It's kind of all around fine. I would say that doesn't have as many unique abilities as some of the other options out there, but it's fine. If you want a chariot, then go for it. To maximize their efficientness, I would take them in squads of 2, so you can have a leader and get the +1 to hit. And then I think the best weapon choice is the Great Blade. Next up, we're talking about the only conditional Slave to Darkness Battleline, the Varanguard. So besides costing $100 IRL for 3 models, they look cool. Oh, and one other note, I will not be talking about the Chaos warbands from Warcry because I think the majority of them are really bad, and there's only a select few standout units that would deserve a call out, and I'll probably eventually make a video on the different Chaos warbands, but for now we're just going to be focusing on the Varanguard. So the Varanguard must be taken in host of the Everchosen subfaction. These guys are kind of like Archaon's goodest boys. They have demon horses that are pretty gnarly. They have a stat line of 10-inch move, 9 bravery, 5 wounds, and a 3-up save. They have the ensorcelled weapon, 1-inch reach, 6 attacks, 3s to hit, 3s to wound, 1 rend, 1 damage. The Fell Spear, 2-inch reach, 3 attacks, 3s to hit, 4s to wound, 1 rend, 2 damage. The Demon Forge Blade, 1-inch reach, 3 attacks, 3s to hit, 3s to wound, 1 rend, d3 damage. The Fearing, no, that should be not Fearing Fangs, excuse me. Ripping Fangs, I believe. 1-inch reach, 3 attacks, 4s to hit, 3s to wound, no rend, 1 damage. For unique abilities, they have the Mark of Chaos. 6s to hit, deal 1 mortal wound in addition for anything for the Demon Forged Blade. They get a +1 to hit if Archaon is in your army and on the battlefield. They get a +1 to wound and +1 to rend if they make a charge. And once per game, they can fight twice. So after you finish fighting the first time, you can pop this ability and fight again. So if you just didn't kill something enough, you can try again. And they have an innate 5-up spell ignore. So Varanguard, they're cool. They are really great battle cavalry. I think that it is awesome just to stick them in there and leave them. They are hard to get rid of and they do a lot of damage. To maximize their efficientness, take in squads of 3 and take the Demon Forged Blade, excuse me. They're also best taken alongside Archaon, but not necessary. So that was the Slave to Darkness Battleline. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like or a comment. And if you want to see more content, consider subscribing. I will be leaving a link to my Discord in the description below. So if you want to come and hang out or just kind of talk to me directly, give me feedback, etc., I'll be down there and yeah, we can hang out. This has been the Wargrove World, and I'll see you all next time.